You're scrolling late at night. A video stops you. A face on the screen looks almost real. The skin looks right. The lighting looks right. Something around the eyes does not. You can't explain it. You just feel a small chill and keep scrolling. But the real answer is far stranger than bad CGI or a glitchy filter. That feeling has a name, a real graph, and decades of research behind it. It isn't an aesthetic opinion. It's a switch in your brain flipping at a very specific point, and almost nobody knows where that point is until they've already felt it. Think about the things that have given you this exact feeling before. A wax figure in a museum, a ventriloquist's dummy left on a chair, a video game character whose mouth moves but whose eyes stay dead, a photorealistic AI-generated face with skin just a little too smooth. None of these are dangerous. None of them have ever hurt you. So why does some quiet part of your brain treat them like a threat? In 1970, a Japanese robotics professor named Masahiro Mori was thinking about exactly this question. Mori had spent years building robots, and he noticed something strange happening to people's reactions as machines got more lifelike. A simple, obviously mechanical robot felt charming. A robot that looked almost, but not quite, human felt deeply unsettling. Mori sketched out a graph to describe it. As a robot's human likeness increases, our comfort with it rises smoothly, right up until it gets close to fully human. At that point, comfort doesn't just plateau, it crashes. Mori called that sudden dip the Uncanny Valley, and the name stuck because it captured something everyone had felt, but nobody had mapped before. For decades, this stayed mostly a theory, repeated in robotics papers and design conversations. Could it actually be measured? Or was it just a clever metaphor? In the 2000s, researcher Carl McDorman at Indiana University set out to test Mori's idea directly. McDorman ran studies showing people a range of faces, from clearly mechanical robots to highly realistic androids like ReplyEQ2, a robot built to closely resemble a real Japanese woman. Participants rated how eerie or comfortable each face felt. The results traced almost exactly the dip Mori had sketched decades earlier by hand. Comfort rose steadily with realism, then dropped sharply right around the point where a face looked unmistakably human, but not quite correctly so. This wasn't a vague cultural superstition. It was a measurable, repeatable pattern sitting inside ordinary human perception. So what is your brain actually doing in that dip? Is it judging appearance or something deeper? This is where a very different kind of study, done years later at Dartmouth College, gets interesting. Researchers Christine Lusser and Thalia Wheatley wanted to know exactly where the line between object and person sits inside human perception. They created a sequence of faces that gradually morphed from a clearly artificial doll into a clearly real human, change by tiny change, like a slow dissolve. Participants watched the sequence and simply had to say, at each step, whether the face looked alive or not. If perception worked the way most people assume, you'd expect a smooth, gradual answer. A little more alive, a little more alive, a little more alive, as the images moved closer to human. That isn't what happened. Instead, participants experienced almost no shift in their judgment for a long stretch of the sequence, then a sudden flip, all at once, right around one narrow point. Before that point, faces registered as objects. After it, they registered as people. There was no in-between category your mind was comfortable resting in. Lusser and Wheatley called this the tipping point of animacy, and it reveals something important about how your brain is built. It doesn't perceive humanness on a smooth dial. It runs a binary check, alive or not alive, person or thing. When an image sits exactly on that boundary, neither category fully fires, and your mind is left holding a result it has no folder for. That unresolved result is not neutral. It's the uncomfortable feeling itself. Why would a binary system like that be useful to have at all? Because for nearly all of human history, getting this judgment wrong fast could matter enormously. A predator in tall grass that might be a log, A stranger approaching at dusk who might be sick, or might be a corpse, or might be perfectly fine. Confusing alive with not alive, or healthy with diseased, carried real consequences your ancestors couldn't afford. A brain that answers that question instantly, with a hard either-or switch, is a brain that doesn't waste time deliberating while a decision actually matters. The cost of this speed is exactly the discomfort you feel now. Every time something modern sits precisely on that ancient boundary, the system was never designed to tolerate. Some researchers go further, suggesting the uncanny feeling borrows from your disease avoidance instinct specifically. A face with slightly wrong skin texture, slightly wrong eye movement, or slightly wrong stillness shares surface features with sickness or with death. Your perceptual system, unable to confidently sort the image into healthy living person, may default to flagging it the way it would flag a warning sign of contagion. You're not reacting to ugliness. You're reacting to ambiguity that your ancestors' biology learned to treat as risk. This explains something that puzzles a lot of modern designers and engineers. Why making a robot or an animated character more realistic doesn't always make audiences like it more. Pixar learned this lesson directly. Early test audiences responded uneasily to overly realistic human characters in animated films, which is part of why so much animation deliberately stays stylized, with exaggerated proportions and simplified faces, rather than chasing full photorealism. Staying clearly on the obviously not real side of the valley is often safer, emotionally, than getting close to human and missing. This matters more right now than at almost any point since Mori first drew his graph. AI-generated faces are everywhere, in advertising, in customer service avatars, in deepfaked videos circulating with no warning label at all. Many of them sit exactly inside the valley most people have never consciously identified, close enough to real to bypass your immediate skepticism, but slightly wrong enough that some part of you keeps quietly flagging it. That flagging feeling, the one you've probably dismissed 100 times as this video just looks weird, is actually a 50-year-old, scientifically measured perceptual alarm doing exactly what it evolved to do. You don't need to be a robotics expert to use this. The next time a face online gives you that small, hard-to-explain chill, that feeling is worth trusting, at least as a signal to look closer rather than scroll past. Your brain isn't malfunctioning when an almost human face unsettles you. It's running a categorization system built across hundreds of thousands of years. Encountering something modern technology has only recently learned how to create on purpose. An image engineered specifically to sit inside the one gap your perception was never built to comfortably resolve. You're scrolling late at night. A video stops you. A face on the screen looks almost real. This time, you know exactly which part of you is doing the looking.